The knife is a Spyderco Military in S90V, blue G-10. I got the knife out tonight to sharpen it. Since its last sharpening, it did 3 to 4 months of daily use without being sharpened at all. No touch-ups, no stropping. I typically don't do that. I won't touch up a knife in between sharpenings. I don't strop it to bring the edge back. I'll sharpen a knife and I'll get it as sharp as I possibly can, and then I'll let it run its course through use, becoming dull, until it's time to be sharpened again. That's what I had done with this, and like I said, it took between 3 to 4 months for the knife to get dull. And when I say dull, what I mean is it would no longer shave hair. There was no part of the blade that would shave hair. It still felt sharp, and it would still cut fine. It was still useful. But to me, at the point where it's no longer shaving, that's when it's time to call it. So I had set this knife aside, and I had spent some time with some other things in my pocket. I got the knife out tonight to sharpen it up and put it back into use. And I thought I'd record it and see if I couldn't make something out of it. The stones that I decided to use for this were just the stones from the Spyderco Sharp Maker. That was it. Nothing crazy. No water stones. Just the diamond, the medium, the fine, and the ultra fine. I started on the diamond to bring the edge back. I often advocate a coarse stone. You need it to set the apex, to get the general shape back to where you want it and get any wear out of the steel, especially if you're dealing with steels like S90V or S110V or 10V. Diamond really, if you're coming off of a heavy use for the knife, diamond really can get things back in shape and set you up for the rest of the stones. After the coarse diamond, I moved on to medium. I made my way through the medium. It was fine. The stones don't have a problem with a steel like S90V. You spend a little bit more time as compared to some of the lower wear resistant steels, but it's not a big deal. You just have to be patient and stay on course. After the medium stone, I moved on to the fine. I worked my way through the fine, and I found partway through the fine, I found myself making movements that I wouldn't normally make doing this type of sharpening. I don't know why I did it. It just felt right to do. I moved through it, and then I went back to the normal way I would go through the sharpening, which evened out the edge. But it seemed like the faster movements up and down got the job done a little bit quicker. After the fine, I moved on to ultra fine, and I did the same thing with that. I found myself making the same movements, and then evening things out, or making sure things were evened out after the fact. After I moved through the stones and had made sure that I apexed the knife the way that I wanted to with each stone, with a steel like S90V, you can't miss any steps. You kind of can't make any mistakes, not if you're going to get it as sharp as I wanted to get this. But I moved through the stones, it was fine, so I moved on to strops, and I decided to start with a 7-micron strop, which is heavy. I mean, at that point, going from the ultra fine stone to a 7-micron strop, I'm almost moving backwards, but I don't care. That logic doesn't, I don't really care about that. I had reasoning for moving to a 7 micron, and so that's what I did. And the reasoning had to do with burr and edge finish and that kind of thing. More something that I was feeling out than anything else. I worked my way through the 7-micron strop, and then I moved on to a 5-micron strop. I worked my way through that. The strops, the stropping, there was 10 different strops for this knife. I wouldn't normally use that many, and I didn't need to. I just chose to. If this knife is being sharpened every 3 to 4 months and it's being used daily, that's the kind of use I get out of it. I thought, you know what, it doesn't hurt to take a little bit of time on it and see what happens. Also, the last time that I'd sharpened it, I left it extremely coarse, and I went out of my way not to over refine the edge. So this time I decided to kind of go, and not so much in the opposite direction, but I mean, I wasn't trying to polish the edge, but I wasn't going out of my way to make it coarse. With a steel like S90V, at some level of sharpness, it kind of doesn't matter. I mean, not for the use that I'm putting the knife through anyway. I mean, it stands up to anything that I put it through, and it just kind of works. It goes through whatever's put in front of it. The strop that I finished on was a .025 micron strop. By the time the stropping was done, well, going through the strops, I noticed at half micron that the knife would whittle a hair. By the time I got through .025 micron, the knife was so sharp it wouldn't whittle a hair, or very, very little. It was just kind of cutting them upon contact. The knife was tree topping sharp. It was S90V. I like the way S90V sharpens it. You can get it sticky sharp. You can get it, I've heard people say it just doesn't get that sharp, and it's not true. It couldn't be more wrong. It's not an easy steel to work with, but it's far from impossible to get it. And when you get it right, it really comes off in a good way. The edge came up beautifully. It's a coarse finish, and it's not polished. It's not even consistent in its edge finish, but the edge, that's the bevel. The edge is consistent, and the edge is what I'm looking at. I don't sharpen for aesthetics. I don't care about making things pretty. This is a user, and it's one of the knives that I use the most, just going throughout my daily routine. I wanted the edge the way that I wanted it, and that's what I got from it.